Okay, I'm with Tennis Canada's Western national coach. He also coached the Israeli Federation and Davis Cup teams. This is Oded Jacob. Oded, you're here in Victoria. You're doing a U8, U10, and U12 regrouping. Can you tell me a little bit about the idea of coming to Victoria and your reflection just on what are you seeing here with the kids in Victoria?
Well, generally speaking about BC and Western Canada, I think we're pumping up the high performance in this part of the country. I think we identified the potential out here based on players like Milos, Vasek Pospisil and Rebecca Marino. And we've put together a provincial program as well as a national program, and now we're reaching out to the regions, especially to Victoria, the island, because we feel that there is, again, a lot of tennis out here, a lot of kids, a lot of potential, and there's no reason why we don't identify the kids early and start working with them, putting them on the right pathway, and trying to bring them forward into that high performance pathway and giving them the opportunities. So I think it's the second time I've been here. The sport is growing, and hopefully with our presence here, we can inspire a lot more kids to come, a lot more coaches to be involved in this, and pushing the kids through the pipeline.
Can you talk a little bit about your coaching philosophy when working with U8, U10, U12 players?
Well, my philosophy is very simple, and I think at all stages of the game it keeps simple. If you stick with the fundamentals and you're able to teach the kids, first of all, the sensation, the feeling of the ball, the understanding of the court, and how to stay consistent, how to build a good movement pattern on the court. You're going to give them a great base to grow out of. And I think, like in every sport, sometimes a lot of things start from defense. So also in tennis, when you're capable of being consistent and putting a lot of balls in the court, you're going to be able to grow your game into different areas later on. So sticking to that part of ball control, anticipation, being able to control heights, directions, speeds is the most essential part. And from there on, it's giving the kids a lot of opportunity.
You obviously have a lot of experience as an international coach. If you could compare the Canadian kids in U8, U10, U12 to what you see in Europe or internationally, what is it that our kids in Canada need the most versus their international competition?
Well, if you're talking specifically the tennis kids, it's one thing. If you're talking general athletes in other fields also, it's another thing, because I see a very good culture in the hockey, a very big fighting spirit, and like a winning spirit in hockey. I don't see that enough in tennis. I think tennis is perceived as a game and not really as a high performance thing, and people are playing too nice, sometimes too nice, and with not enough intensity and not enough winning attitude. So that's the first part. Secondly, I think we're losing most of the athletes to the bigger sports, the hockey, the soccer, maybe the baseball. So tennis, as maybe the fifth or sixth sport in Canada, is not getting the highest quality of athletes. So we basically need to build them athletically. So that's another disadvantage that you have to catch up with. But on the other hand, it's very raw, it's very virgin. It's a new sport. There's great role models in the game today from Canada. If it's Milos Raonic and Vasek Pospisil and Eugene Bouchard, so the kids can look up to that and and compensate for the sport is still a little bit too small.
Right. What advice would you give Canadian coaches working with younger players? What key piece of information could you give coaches that you think Canadian coaches need to prioritize the most?
I think Canadian coaches have a good knowledge, very good knowledge. There's a very good coach education system here. I think one of the best in the world. I think the practical part, the link to the practical part, is what the Canadian coach needs to do. How to implement this on court, how to be more involved in participating in the practice, putting the energy and showing it to the kids, showing that passion and emotion on court. Also, the more these coaches are exposed overseas, that's the learning curve. So the more they can travel outside and see other nations, other players, they're going to bring this kind of experience back and show it to the kids. So that's another part of the formula. But generally, again, you know, it's virgin, and I think there's a huge opportunity here, and it's just placed to growth.
Right. Oded, thanks very much for doing this.
Thank you.